welcome to this live lesson. This lesson right here, I want us to talk about something very important. That is why I decided to make this as a live video, because the video might be long or short, but this is a very important video in which I want us to talk about the professional part of mobile repairing, which is the professional troubleshooting part of mobile repairing. So because this video is a live video, I'm just going to go on, even though people are not yet watching. I'm just going to go on, then talk on anything that I want to talk about, because by the time that most people will be watching this video, the live will be over. You understand? So let me see if anyone is here already. Okay. Okay, so what is it that I want us to talk about in this video? Like I said, it's very important, which is about the hi bro, I'm happy to have you here. I'm doing fine. I hope you are doing great today. Okay, so what I want us to talk on this video is the professional part of mobile repairing. I want you to understand what is considered as professional troubleshooting in mobile repairing, because I know that most of you guys really do want to become a professional in mobile repairing, but you cannot become that professional, or you might falsely call yourself a professional in mobile repairing because you don't know exactly the things that you should be able to do to call yourself a professional in mobile repairing. Do you understand? So what are the things that are considered professional when it comes to troubleshooting a mobile phone? All my lessons, I focus in troubleshooting because that's the key point in mobile repairing. If you want to be good in mobile repairing, you should know troubleshooting. That is why I focus in troubleshooting. You understand? Okay, please, if you are watching this video, just give it a thumbs up. Just give it a thumbs up. We have a lot to talk about right here. Just give it a thumbs up. Okay, so when it comes to professional mobile repairing, there are some content in which you need to study, and when you study that content and be able to troubleshoot that particular problem in a mobile phone from the basics, that's when you can actually call yourself a professional mobile technician. Being able to do things that a lot of technicians around you cannot be able to do in a mobile phone, that's when you can call yourself a technician, a best technician in your area. Because the reason why I keep learning a lot of things all day is because I always try to be the best in my area. It's not like I turn everything to a competition, but I always try to solve problems that other technicians in my area cannot be able to solve that particular problem and won't even understand what I'm doing, because it's not more than just 3 times that I've troubleshoot a mobile phone in front of technicians who have been working for long more than me, and they're like, wow, what am I doing in that PCB? They don't even understand what I'm doing. And that's when I can say, okay, I actually know what I'm doing. I actually know exactly what I'm doing in this PCB, and I can call this professional level of troubleshooting. And that's because there are a lot of things in which I will name them right here, in which you should focus, in which you have to focus on knowing in case you want to be a professional in mobile repairing. So I have a list right here. I'm going to mention all the content, then explain what this is about. They are actually from my professional level course. In case you don't know about the professional level course, I'm going to mention all this while I will keep my number. Let me see the live chat right here. I'm going to keep my number in the live chat so that you can copy in case you listen to all this and you want my professional mobile repairing course. So for you to be able to become a professional in mobile repairing course, there are a list of things right here in which you should be able to know, which are faults in a mobile PCB. Most people don't even know that these are actually faults in a mobile PCB, because we just go generally into a mobile PCB and start troubleshooting power problem. Okay, for example, power problem has a lot of different problems in which you need to check that step by step You understand? So in case a phone is not switching on, what is it that you have to check? You don't just have to go in saying that you are checking power problems. That's why most people, when they are checking power problems in a mobile PCB, they will check the battery, they will check the components around the power IC. They will consider that, okay, maybe the power IC or the charging IC, which are the power section components, are faulty. Meanwhile, there are some minor things in which you have to check before you consider that. So the first thing that you need to know is what is no trigger problem on a mobile phone. That's the first content in becoming a professional mobile repairing. When it comes to troubleshooting, you need to know no trigger circuit in a mobile phone. What is no trigger fault in a mobile phone? So no trigger fault is in a mobile phone is when a phone cannot switch on. And when you connect that phone to a DC power supply and press the power button, the phone won't give any sign. I mean, the DC power supply won't detect any current consumption, which means that the power IC of that phone or the trigger section of that phone is not active. So that's the first thing in which you have to learn when it comes to professional level of troubleshooting mobile phones. You should be able to detect no trigger fault when you are troubleshooting the mobile phone. Let me see. Okay, thank you, Perry. Thank you very much. Please give it a thumbs up. We have a long way to go right here. I'm going live on my mobile phone right here, and this is my first time. I'm looking for an option right here to type in my phone number so that in case anyone wants to message me on WhatsApp, he will be able to. But I'm not able to see that. I'm just going to type that on my PC right here. One moment, please. Okay, I'll send my number in the chat section. So in case you want to send me a message on WhatsApp, just send me a message using the number in the chat section right there. So we have talked about no trigger, which is the first lesson in my mobile repairing course, in my professional mobile repairing course. So in my mobile repairing course, professional mobile repairing course, the first thing that you are going to study no trigger circuit. And this no trigger circuit is very important. I mean, it's the first thing that you should troubleshoot when you are getting into deep troubleshooting of the mobile phone. After you have checked the battery, which is the basics of troubleshooting, check the battery, check for shorting, you are going to go into checking the trigger circuit of that mobile phone. So we are not going to go deep into the details of no trigger circuit, because actually I just want to mention all these things so that you will know that they are very important. Because when you know what trigger circuit in a mobile phone is, you need to know how to troubleshoot. You need to know the circuits that are related to no trigger problem on a mobile phone. So the second content in which you need to know is trigger active but no power. So this trigger active but no power in a mobile phone is when you connect a dead mobile phone to a DC power supply, then press and hold the power key for like 5 seconds, then the DC power supply actually detects that the phone consumes current, but yet the phone doesn't switch on. That's what we call trigger active but no power. The phone actually consumes an amount of current, but yet doesn't switch on. So in this particular case, you need to know the circuits that are related to this problem. And with all this, you can learn this from my professional mobile repairing course. When you know all this, that's when you will be like, okay, I actually know what I'm doing. I can call myself a professional, because if I'm really correct right here, most of you are getting all this for the first time. Most of you do not know about this, and this is the reason why I'm giving this out to you. This is the reason why I want you to know about all this, because in case you want to learn everything and become good in troubleshooting, these are the things that you need to know, because they are very important when troubleshooting. So the next important content right here, in which you have to know, in case you want to become a professional in mobile repairing, you need to know how to trace the CPU, the RAM, the CPU, the hard disk, and the temporary storage, input voltage and output voltage. So in simple terms, you need to know how to test the CPU input voltage and how to test the CPU output voltage. So I know that most of you guys have no idea how to do this, because I tell you what, output voltage of the power IC that goes to the CPU in some phones can reach over 30 output that goes to the CPU. You understand? The power IC gives out a lot of output, which we call the VREGs when you are troubleshooting using schematic diagrams. The VREGs are the output voltages of the power IC. So when you are troubleshooting using schematic diagrams, most people always say that they don't actually see where the voltages are written in that schematic diagram. But I'm here to tell you that every schematic diagram always have voltages written in them, but you don't know how to read the voltages, and that's why you need to know the professional level of troubleshooting to be able to see all those numbers, see all those letters, and be able to convert them to voltage, because they are written there clearly, but you won't see 1 volt, you won't see 2 volt. You understand? They are written differently. And all these are the things in which you need to learn. You need to learn how to check the input voltage of the CPU, the RAM, and the ROM. Most phones have 3 big ICs right now. We have the CPU, the temporary storage, and the hard disk storage. You need to be able to use schematic diagrams to troubleshoot all these things. You understand? So I don't know if you have seen my number in the live chat right here, but if you have seen it, you can send me a message on WhatsApp. And thank you for watching. Please like my live stream right here. Just give it a like. Thank you for joining. Okay, so the next thing that you need to know right here, you need to know how to trace the power supply of the Emmc, because that's very important. The Emmc uses a power supply which, if any, it doesn't have a lot of power supplies like the CPU, but if any of this power supply is lacking, then there will be a problem. The phone might not be able to function at all, because with the CPU has a lot of power supply because it has a lot of functions, but with the Emmc, it's the storage of that mobile phone and it doesn't have a lot of options. It's the temporary and the hard disk storage in case that mobile PCB do not have different separated storage. You understand? So with all this, knowing how to test the eMMC power supply and knowing how to troubleshoot and find the lines in a mobile PCB, you will know how to solve a lot of problems in a mobile phone. Because if any of these lines has a problem, if any of the lines, let's say the power IC is giving out 30 plus output, because in some phones we have 2 power ICs. Most of you guys don't actually know this, but in some phones we have more than 2 power ICs, and in this type of phones we have a lot of outputs. We have a lot of VOUTs, VREGs that are going to the CPU and the hard disk. And if you are troubleshooting power problem and maybe only one of this line is lacking voltage and you don't know how to test, or maybe you know how to test but you don't know how to check the voltage in which you should expect in a particular point when you are finding the power supply, you will have a problem solving that fault. That's why I bring up my professional mobile repairing course to help you out. And the next thing that we are going to talk about right here, we are going to learn in my course, you are going to learn the complete startup process of a mobile phone. So knowing the complete startup process of a mobile phone, you will be able to know the sections, you will be able to know the steps in which you need to go through when troubleshooting the mobile phone. You need to know that you need to start from a particular section. You need to start from the charging IC, the power IC, the crystal oscillator, the Emmc, the CPU. With this lesson, you will know the steps in which you have to go through when you are troubleshooting the mobile phone. Because knowing the steps, I tell you, it will be very easy for you to solve problems in a mobile phone, the mobile phone problems. Because when a mobile phone is switching up, it has all its stages that it passes through before it can successfully turn on. And if you know all these steps, you can be able to start troubleshooting from the starting stage to a certain level to be able to solve that problem. So I took my time to do research, find out things by myself to gather all these stages, so that as you go through, you'll be able to know all these steps and how you can troubleshoot them. I tell you what, this course is very nice. It's very nice. Once you get this course, you will be able to do a lot of things in a mobile PCB and troubleshoot in a way that you will actually see and enjoy what you are doing in a mobile PCB. Because even if you don't have tools, because most of these professional lessons, they will need a lot of professional tools to be able to do at least solve a problem. But the fact is that when you know how to do something and you are lacking the tools, you are happy, because it will help you not to stress a lot. Because at times when you don't know how to find fault in a mobile PCB, you might spend a lot of hours troubleshooting a phone which you cannot find that problem, or maybe you don't have the tools to fix that problem, but yet you will know. But if you know how to find that problem, even though the professional troubleshooting part of finding that problem and knowing exactly what that problem is and the tool that you need to solve that problem, you will easily give up on that phone, because you know that you don't have the tools to fix that fault. Not that you don't know how to fix the fault, you don't have the tools to fix the fault. You understand? And once you know how to detect this fault, it will encourage you to get the tools to be able to fix that fault the next time. You understand? Okay, I hope you are enjoying this. It's very important to know. It's very important. Okay, and the other lesson that you are going to study in my professional mobile repairing course, you are going to study the current stages in a mobile phone when it's starting up. You are going to study the current stages in a mobile phone when a mobile phone is starting up. So you remember when maybe you have seen in videos, or maybe you yourself, you are always monitoring your DC power supply when you are switching on your mobile phone. When you are switching on a mobile phone and monitoring the current consumption in your DC power supply, you know that when the phone is switching on, when it shows the on-in logo, the first logo that it displays, you need to expect a certain amount of voltage, of current, sorry. You need to expect a certain amount of current. And when you don't get that amount of current, you will know the section in which you have to check. Because when a mobile phone is switching on, as it gets to different stages, when it's booting up, the current consumption is going to be changing in your DC power supply. And when it reaches a certain level that the mobile phone fails, and you see the current consumption which ended before the mobile phone failed, then you will know exactly the part that causes that problem. You understand? Because in my course, you are going to learn that a certain current consumption is when the mobile phone reaches this stage, and when it reaches this stage, it's going to show a certain current consumption. And if it doesn't show this current consumption in your DC power supply, you have to check this section or that section. You can see that this is very important to know. You understand? And the other thing is that you are going to learn right here. We are going to learn the backlight section of a mobile phone. Believe it, I've talked about the backlight section of a mobile phone, but there is still a lot to talk about. You understand? I've mostly talked about the 6-pin backlight section, but in this course I've talked about both the 6-pin, I've talked about the bigger backlight ICs, of mobile phones, like Samsung mobile phones, they don't use the 6-pin backlight ICs. Most of them use a big backlight ICs, and other brands like Xiaomi, they use a big pin. Huawei, they use a big pin backlight IC. They use a very big backlight IC. So in this lesson, you are going to learn both 6-pin and bigger backlight ICs. You are going to learn the signals, you are going to learn the control signals, you are going to learn the reset signals and the enable signals of all these ICs. You understand? So as you can see, these are things that are very important for you to know in case you want to know troubleshooting and actually enjoy how to troubleshoot when you are troubleshooting a mobile phone. So we are going to study the display IC of mobile phone. You are going to study the complete display section of a mobile phone, and this lesson, I mean the lesson is huge. This particular lesson is huge because we face display problems in a mobile phone all day, and it turns out to be very hard to troubleshoot display problems like leaking screen, color screen, screen being blank, all that stuff. So in this lesson, I break down how you can troubleshoot display problem in a mobile phone. And when you are troubleshooting display problem in a mobile phone, most of us think that it's very easy, but yet we don't succeed in solving the problem, because when we are troubleshooting display problem in a mobile phone, we have what we call the display IC in most phones now. Most people misunderstand what that display IC is. We have display IC and we have the graphic IC. That display IC only enables the display to be able to display what the CPU is giving out, what the GPU IC is giving out, because the GPU of a mobile phone is integrated with the CPU. You understand? So what we call in a mobile PCB a graphic IC is not the IC that display the graphic. That IC is just a voltage step down or step up in some mobile phones. That step up or step down the voltage that will be able to help the LCD to show the information that the CPU is giving out. It's actually a voltage IC. It either takes in a small amount of voltage and step up, or take in a high amount of voltage and step down, then supply that voltage to the CPU. It doesn't have anything. It doesn't transmit images. You understand? It doesn't transmit signals. That's why when most of us check that, change it, and it doesn't work, then we will know what to do next. That's because it's not the problem. The image is coming from the CPU. The CPU has an integrated GPU that controls the graphic that you see on the screen. Please, if you are watching, give it a like. If you are enjoying the lesson, give it a like, and send me a message on WhatsApp. Okay, so the next thing that you can learn from my professional mobile repairing course, you can learn charging problem. You can learn every type of charging problems in a mobile phone, starting from the charging connector to the charging IC, studying the I2C buses and the SPI buses of the charging IC, studying all the signals and all the battery signals that the charging IC needs to be able to show that this battery is what I need to enable the charging voltage. Because in most phones right now, when you change the battery, you will have a problem. The phone will have a problem to charge. That's because the charging IC of that phone, because the charging IC plays a big role when it comes to charging. Just the name will tell you that. If you change a battery of a mobile phone in some mobile phones right now, that mobile phone will need some time to adapt to that battery that you put in. That's why some new batteries will take a lot of time to charge, will stop in a particular percentage, but after days, as you charge it, the charging section of that mobile phone will study the capacity of that battery in which you have installed in that phone to be able to charge properly. So the charging section of a mobile phone is very big because we have enable signals, we have I2C buses and the SPI buses, we have the input voltages and the output voltages, in which you need to study all these to be able to know how to troubleshoot any type of charging problem. Either it's no charging errors, or any type of charging problem in a mobile phone. Once you go through this lesson, you are going to know all this. You understand? So if you are enjoying the live, make sure you give it a like, and share it to your friends in case you know that they need all this. Okay. The other thing that you are going to learn from my lesson, you are going to learn how to troubleshoot speaker and mic problem in a mobile phone. This speaker and mic problem, most phones right now, like Itel and Techno, Infinix, have a lot of problems with speaker fault in a mobile phone. With my course, it will help you know the secrets that are related to sound and speaker problems in a mobile phone. I tell you what, once you go through this lesson, you will enjoy how you troubleshoot, how you go into schematic diagram and be able to know that you need to expect this from here. And when it comes to mic problem is a little bit complicated to troubleshoot than speaker problem, because most phones right now have a separate speaker IC, a separate IC which we call sound IC, that controls the speaker of a mobile phone. But when it comes to mic, most people always ask me, where is the mic IC of a mobile phone? Mobile phones, I doubt if I have actually seen a mobile phone with a separate mic IC. Mobile phones mic is being controlled by the power IC. In some phones, in few phones, old phones, it's being controlled by the CPU. But any recent phone right now, the mic is being controlled by the power IC. And if you want to confirm what I'm talking about right here, make use of your schematic diagram. And if you don't know how to check this out, my course is going to help you. If you follow the tracks of most mic phones right here, you're going to see that, hi Martin, I hope you are doing great today. If you follow the tracks of most phones, you will see that it's going to the power IC. That's the IC that controls the mic, and it has a signal from the CPU. Schematic diagram will show all that. That's why I always say schematic diagrams are very important. If you know how to read schematic diagrams, you will be able to learn a lot of things by yourself, because I tell you what, a lot of things that I know right now, I always spend time in my schematic diagrams. Like you can see right here, I always spend time studying all this. I study all that. I find out how a mobile phone operates. I found out a lot of things because I know how to read schematic diagram. You understand? So once you know all that, you'll be able to do troubleshooting. That's why I study all this. I make videos teaching you guys how to troubleshoot. I create courses for those who really want to learn this in great details. You understand? So one important thing, again, in which you will learn from my professional level course right here, is SIM card failure in a mobile PC. I've never talked about SIM card secure in my videos because secure is a little bit complicated. The secure is a little bit complicated, and I was still studying the SIM card secure all this while. That's why I haven't talked about. But in my course right here, I've talked about the SIM card secure. You understand? I've talked about the NFC, which is the IC that controls, that step down the voltage of the SIM card. We have the NFC IC, which is fully named as a near field communication IC that controls the voltage that supplies the SIM card. And in this lesson, we are going to study all the ICs that are related, that are connected to the SIM card, that enable the CPU to be able to detect that SIM card. Because first, the SIM card needs a clock signal, it needs a reset signal, it needs an enable signal, then it needs a power up signal. So all these signals, I tell you what, you are going to learn about all these signals in that lesson in my pro mobile repairing course. And these lessons right here that I'm talking about, I have a block diagram circuit that I've drawn. And as you are learning, I explain everything. After I finish explaining in the block diagrams that I've drawn, I go deep into schematic diagram and bit mapping so that you can actually understand everything. So the professional level courses, I do not rush things. I've programmed in a way that everyone can actually understand what's going on. So like I said, the SIM card failure secret in a mobile PCB, you are going to learn a lot of things. And when you just hold a mobile PCB with a SIM card problem, you will know exactly where to troubleshoot. Because when I talk about all these signals, I talked about the I2C buses, the SPI buses, the reset signal, the clock signals, the enable signals. These are signals that are very important. Just from the name signal, you will know that this particular section, this particular component of a mobile PCB needs a signal to be able to function. You understand? So we are going to study a lot of things. We are going to study AMOLED touchscreen display. We are going to study touchscreen problems on a mobile phone. The whole circuit. The circuit is very big, and I break that down for you guys. You are going to study LCD backlight touchscreen. We have different types of touchscreen in a mobile PCB, in which we are going to study all that. Study the AMOLED touchscreen display type, and we are going to study the LCD backlight touchscreen display type. I'm going to study the complete section of this. And one important common fault right here is battery error in mobile phones. So in this lesson, we are going to study every type of battery error in a mobile phone. Like all the battery error signs. When you connect the battery, try to switch it on. When you try to charge, it gives an error about the battery, or a physical battery error that pops up in the screen when you switch on the phone or when you try to on the phone. You are going to study all the circuits that are related to this problem, and you are going to see exactly how you can solve this problem. I mean, it's a very important lesson because you study starting from the battery connector to the charging IC, to the power IC, and to the CPU. You are studying the B10. You are going to study the battery ID, the back on, all that stuff, the VPH line, which is related to the main power supply. You are going to study all this, and the battery ID, which enables the charging IC or the power IC to be able to detect that phone using information that it sends to the CPU. You understand? So once you study all this, you are going to know everything, especially when it comes to this battery error, because it's very important and very hard to troubleshoot, because most battery of mobile phones right now have different pins. Some of them have like 4 pins, in which any of these pins have what it's going to send into that phone to be able to know that this is the correct battery for this phone. And if any of that signal is not available, then that phone will have a problem detecting, because mobile phone batteries right now have I2C buses and they have SPI buses. I was surprised to see that when I was looking deep into schematic diagrams, and these are things that you need to check. So all these are the detect signals, the identification signals. You understand? So we are going to take a look at the temperature circuits of a mobile phone. Any type of temperature problems on a mobile phone, temperature problems can really be annoying, but I tell you what, with this course, we are going to learn and study all temperature circuits on a mobile phone, and the circuits that are related to a particular temperature fault. We have different types of temperature errors on a mobile phone. We are going to study all the circuits that are related to temperature errors in a mobile phone, and we are going to study battery temperature errors as well. There is another lesson in which you are going to study battery temperature errors. So you can see that there are a lot of things right here in which you are going to learn them. You understand? And you are going to study as well the battery detection circuit, which I've talked about, the battery detection and the battery signals. So we have a lot of lessons right here. If you take a look right here, you will see that these are lessons in which you are going to get from my course, and all these have videos. One lesson can have about 6 videos, so I have a total of 56 videos in my professional level course. You understand? And these videos are very well detailed, very well explained. You understand? So the other things that you are going to study right here, you are going to study power leakage in a mobile phone. So what is power leakage in a mobile phone? Power leakage is what we call half shorting in a mobile phone. Half shorting or power leakage in a mobile phone can be full shorting or half shorting in most cases. The reason why I focus this on half shorting is because half shorting is hard to detect, and the problems that can be caused by half shorting in a mobile PCB can be very hard for you to know that that's half shorting. We have problems like restarting problem and auto off problems that is caused by power leakage in a mobile phone, and this power leakage is when a capacitor is leaking, and the way that it's leaking is that it's sending the positive voltage to the ground, and when it sends that positive voltage to the ground, there it's going to be a short. And the reason why we have half shorting and we have full shorting is that the full shorting will always send that positive voltage to the ground. It's always going to connect that positive voltage to the ground, and it's going to cause a full shorting. But the half shorting is when the voltage might be passing well, but after some time it's going to breach that voltage to the ground and enable it, breach it and enable it. And when it does so, the phone can restart, the phone can keep rebooting, or the phone can auto off when you are using it or when you just switch it on. You understand? Let's see. Okay, so the next thing that you can also learn from my professional level mobile repairing course is earphone icon problem in a mobile phone. You know, that kind of stuff that you switch on your phone, then you see the headset icon at the top of the screen. So that problem is very annoying, and there are different ways to solve this problem out there. There are different ways to solve this problem out there, and I noticed that most of that method that you see out there works only on old devices or keypad devices. So in my lesson right here, I will show you how you can fix that problem. I will show you the circuits that are related to earphone jack problem on the most recent phones right here, and I will show you how you can troubleshoot and fix that problem. You understand? Please, if you are watching this video, kindly like the video right here. Kindly like. Hi Christian, thank you for watching, man. Please like the video, Okay, one important lesson right here again. We have camera failure problem in a mobile phone. That's a circuit in which I haven't talked about in any of my videos on YouTube right here, because it's a very big circuit and I was still studying the circuit, and right now I finally know the complete circuit and how you can troubleshoot camera problems in a mobile phone. So when it comes to the camera circuit of a mobile phone, we have the SPI buses and the I2C buses. We have the enable signal, the input voltage, and the pins that transfer the data between the camera and the CPU. And with the schematic diagrams and the block diagram that I've drawn about this lesson, we are going to study how this complete circuit operates. We are going to study how the CPU and the camera are connected. We are going to study how the CPU sends the enable signals to the components that are supplying the power IC with the voltage. We are going to study how the I2C buses or the SPI buses, depending on the phone. We have I2C buses and SPI buses depending on the phone, and you can know this when you are checking the schematic diagram. That's why I talk about I2C buses and SPI buses, even though I know that you don't know what these are, but you have a long way to go. That's why my mobile repairing course is out for you to get right here. So with the camera circuit, you are going to study everything. You are going to study everything. You understand? Okay, let me see. And right now, those of you who want to get this course right here, last month a lot of people got my course because it was on promotion. I discount $50 for people who are getting my course last month, and I try my best to promote the course to reach out to those who will rush and get the calls because of the discount. But at last, not everyone was able to see that there was a discount in the course, and I'm sorry about that. The discount ended last week, so right now the course is back to its standard price, which is $150. It might sound big, but I tell you what, with all the content, you will see that that's a fair price. And if you really want to learn all this, that will be a very fair price to you, because you are going to learn a lot. You are going to learn a lot. You understand? So we are talking about the camera, right? So in most mobile phones right now, we have different cameras. We have the main camera, we have the telephoto camera, we have the ultra wide, and we have the front facing camera. So all of these cameras are kind of connected to one in such a way that if one of these cameras has a problem, it can affect all of them, or if just one input voltage of one of these cameras has a problem, it can affect the other cameras. So in schematic diagrams, all these cameras circuits are separated. It shows the input voltages of these cameras, and it shows the data lines of these cameras, and it enables the I2C buses of these cameras. So using schematic diagrams, you can be able to check each of these cameras circuit to see if it's okay, because one of the circuits can totally block the phone from using even the main camera, even when it's not the camera that has a problem. You understand? Okay. And we have a network fault troubleshooting right here. Network fault troubleshooting, I mean, this lesson is very hard. It's very hard. I really put in a lot of work in this lesson, because I had to explain everything. I had to draw circuits. I had to explain using a bit mapping. I had to explain using PCB layout and the schematic diagrams as well. And as you study this lesson, you are going to learn how to troubleshoot from a 2G to 5G network. You are going to learn all the circuit. You are going to learn all the network switches that are in the network section. You are going to learn. Thank you very much, Martin. I'm grateful. You are going to learn all these circuits. You understand? You are going to learn all these circuits. I tell you, and if you want to get this course, you should rush and get it, because you won't regret it. I have a lot of people who have been getting it since I created the course 1 month ago, and they are really grateful. They have not even completed the course, because the course is huge. The course is huge, and the course, when you get this course, you are going to get access to the website, because I launched the course in my own website. I launched the course in my website. When you pay for the course, you will get access to that website, and you will always have access to that website. And I'm even planning to update the course in the future with practicals videos, like reballing videos. I'm planning to do that, and when I do that, those who have purchased the course already will have access to all that lesson in future. So you can see everything is good about the course. And the other thing right here, in which will be the last thing that you are going to learn in this course, will be Bluetooth and Wi-Fi circuit. You are going to study the circuit that controls the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth of a mobile phone, and you are going to learn how to troubleshoot by learning the input voltages, the signals, where it's getting the signal from, where it's getting the input voltages from. You're going to learn all that. And the reason why I keep talking about input voltage right here is because I want you to know that not all these components takes the input voltage directly from the power IC. And in some phones we have more than one power IC. In some phones we have two power ICs. Some components do not get direct voltage, do not get the voltage directly from the power IC. At times the power IC might have to give out a 3 volt, and when it gives out, it's going to pass into a step down component before it goes to a particular IC. That's why I keep talking about each circuit, talking about the input voltages, and using schematic to find the input voltages, because when you are finding it, you will actually see that it's some input voltages that are coming from the power IC actually passes through an IC. For example, we talked about the SIM card detection circuit, and we talked about the NFC. Most phones NFC takes in 3 volt from the power IC, and when it takes in that 3 volt from the power IC, it's going to step down that 3 volt to 1. Well, I don't know if you are not getting me. I'm sorry if the audio is not loud. I don't even know if. Let me check that out. I think the audio is okay. I just checked that from my. I'm sorry about that. Maybe my mic is not that sensitive. I'm sorry about that. You can use your headset in case you are not getting me well. Sorry about that. I'm not using a microphone right here. I'm using my phone mic right here. You understand? So like I was saying, some circuits in a mobile PCB do not get a direct voltage from the CPU. I was talking about the NFC IC. It takes in 3 volts from the power IC. When it takes in that 3 volts, because it needs to send that voltage to the SIM card, and that 3 volt is too big for the SIM card chip to handle, the NFC voltage is going to step down the voltage that it received from the power IC to a 1.8 volt to be able to supply it to the SIM card. So that's how voltage distribution is in a mobile PCB, because the power manager IC is the main component that distributes voltage. That doesn't mean that it sends voltage directly to every IC. That's not how it works. You understand? And with this course right here, the course is available in all languages. That's the sweetest thing right here. So if you are following my videos, meanwhile you are using subtitles to understand what I'm talking about, then you can get this course. The main language is in English, like I'm speaking right here. I speak English only. The main language is in English, and I was able to get transcriptions for all languages. So if you can watch the course, if you can get the course and watch using the subtitles, then everything will be good. Subtitles are available in all languages. You understand? So I think this is all I wanted to talk about. If you have a question, then you can ask. Nokia C22 test point. I'm sorry bro, I don't have the test point. You can check online. You can check that online in forums, or you can check, maybe someone uploaded in online. And there are ways to check test points using schematic diagrams as well. There are ways to check test points of mobile phone using schematic diagrams. That's why you see schematic diagrams are very important, right? So if you have a question, just ask me right here, let me answer. So I've been talking about my professional level mobile repairing course. That course is actually recommended to people who really know how to repair to the schematic level, because I have a level 1 course and a level 2 course, which is the professional level course that I'm talking about. So if you know that you don't know much about mobile repairing yet to the extent of reading schematic diagrams, you will need to get, I recommend you to get my level 1 course before getting the level 2 course. Because if you do so, you will be able to understand. Because if you just go on then get the professional level course, you won't be able to understand a lot of things. Because I don't start from the pro level course. I don't start any lesson from the basics. I start from the schematic level of that fall. You understand? So if you have any question, you can ask me. There is no course to be direct. But I have videos, right? I have a lot of videos, over 100 videos that you can actually learn from. You can check my playlist. If you click on my profile homepage, click on playlist, you will see a hardware troubleshooting playlist right there, in which you can learn a lot from there for free. Okay. If you have a question, just ask before I end the live stream. Mobile phones right now, that mobile phone will need some time to adapt to that battery that you put in. That's why some new batteries will take a lot of time to charge, will stop in a particular percentage. But after days, as you charge it, the charging section of that mobile phone will store the capacity of that battery in which you have installed in that phone to be able to charge properly. So the charging section of the mobile phone is very big because we have enable signals, we have the ITC buses and the SPI buses, we have the input voltages and the output voltages, in which you need to study all these to be able to know how to troubleshoot any type of charging problem. Either it's no charging, charging errors, or any type of charging problem in a mobile phone. Once you go through this lesson, you are going to know all this. To understand. So if you are enjoying the live, make sure you give it a like and share it to your friends in case you know that. No Telegram link for free schematics, bro. Yeah. The reason is, if you want schematic diagrams in which you can download, you can always search that online, because we use schematic softwares. The schematics cannot be extracted. You understand? But I think if you search online, there will be a couple of schematics on Google that you can be able to download. But that will be very hard to go through. That will be very hard to go through. Because when you are going through schematic diagrams, you actually need the layout to be able to go through the schematic diagrams. Meanwhile, the schematic diagram that you download from the internet, schematic diagram direct, you won't be able to get the PCB layout to be able to go through the schematic diagram, then check where the component numbers are in that mobile PCB, you understand. So that's why I prefer, if you want schematic diagram, you should get a schematic diagram software. They are very cheap. That's something. If you message me, then I'll give you my price list. Then you check the schematic diagram that you need and the period. Like if you need 3 months schematic license, 6 months or 12 months, I'm going to give that to you. So I prefer you get a schematic diagram software in case you need it. If you want to confirm what I'm talking about right here, make use of your schematic diagram. And if you don't know how to check this out, my course is going to help you. If you follow the tracks of most of my phones right here, you're going to see that, hi Martin, I hope you are doing great today. If you follow the tracks of most phones, you will see that it's going to the power IC. That's the IC that controls the mic and it has the signal from the CPU. Schematic diagram will show all that. That's why I always say schematic diagrams are very important. If you know how to read schematic diagrams, you'll be able to learn a lot of things by yourself, because I tell you what, a lot of things that I know right now, I always spend time schematic diagrams, like you can see right here. I will spend time studying all this. I study all that. I find out how things, how a mobile phone operates. I found out a lot of things because I know how to do schematic diagrams. You understand? So once you know all that, you'll be able to do troubleshooting. That's why I study all this. I make videos teaching you guys how to troubleshoot. I create courses for those who really want to learn these basics. You understand? So one important thing again in which you will learn from my professional level course, right? Is SIM card failure in a mobile PC. If you have any questions to ask, you can ask. You can ask. I will answer that. Little bit complicated. The safety is a little bit complicated. And that's my number. I drop my number in my live chat right there using my other account. So you can message me with a number. I'll talk about SIM card safety. You understand? I'll talk about the NFC, which is the IC that controls, that state down the voltage of the SIM card. We have the NFC IC, which is fully named as the near field communication IC that controls the voltage that supplies the SIM card. And in this lesson, we are going to study all the ICs that are related, that are connected, the SIM card that enable the CPU to be able to take that SIM card. Because first, the SIM card needs a clock signal, it needs a reset signal, it needs an enable signal, then it needs a power off signal. So all these signals, I tell you what, you are going to learn about all these signals in that lesson. In my pro mobile repairing course, and these lessons right here that I'm talking about, I have a block diagram sequence that I'll draw. And as you're learning, I explain everything. After I finish explaining the block diagram that I've drawn, I go deep. Schematic diagram, deep mapping, so that you can actually understand everything. So the professional level courses, I do not watch things, I have to go in a way that everyone can actually understand what's going on. So like I said, the SIM card failure secret mobile PCB, you're going to learn a lot of things. When you just hold a mobile SIM card problem, you will know exactly where to check to troubleshoot. Because when I talk about all these signals, I talk about the both in the SPI buses. Okay, that's set signal, the clock signals, the enable signals. These are signals that are very important. Just from the name signal, you will know that this particular section. Okay. No problem, bro. No problem. This particular component of the light needs a signal. I'm going to paste that in the chat. I'm going to I'm going to paste that in the chat. I don't know if the link will be clickable in the chat, but if it's not clickable, you can copy the link then paste it in your browser. I just paste the link for bonus schematic diagram. If it's not clickable, you can copy the link then place it in the website, and you can download bonus schematic from there. With touchscreen display, we are going to study touchscreen problems on a mobile. The whole circuit, the circuit is very big, and I break down down for you guys. We are going to study LCD backlight touchscreen. We have different types of touchscreen in a mobile PCB, in which we are going to study all that. Study AMOLED touchscreen display type, and we are going to study LCD backlight touchscreen display type. We are going to study the complete section of it. And one important common fault right here is battery error in mobile phones. So, okay. I will be off right now. I'm going to close the chat right here. So in case you want my professional level course or my level 1 course, send me a message on WhatsApp. I'm going to place the link on the video description after the live chat is over. I'm going to pinpoint the WhatsApp number, my WhatsApp number, and I'm going to wait for your messages on WhatsApp. You understand? So subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and wait for more amazing videos. We are going to see exactly how you can solve this problem. It's very